Sorry, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dilbert?
Here.
Trustee Guerrero? Here. Trustee Nona?
Here.
Trustee Capoli?
Here.
Trustee Switch? President Myson?
Here.
Treasurer Nolan Dilbert? Present? And Clerk Wizard?
All right, approval of the agenda. I have a couple modifications to make. Actually, proactively, I'm going to update for the payment of bills treasurer's report. There was a typo that should be, for the grand total, it should be $620,618.17. It's $100,000 off, so it should be a 6 instead of a 5. For agenda items, under unfinished business, clerical union contract renewal, we're going to take that one off of the agenda. DPW contract renewal, we're going to take that one off of the agenda. And the supervisor contract letter of agreement, we'll take that one off of the agenda so that we can take care of all three of those at the same time. In lieu of A, we'll change that one to be catch basin repairs with D&J. Those are my only edits I'd like to make. Motion in order. So moved.
Support?
It's been moved and supported that we approve the amended agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Public comments on the agenda. Seeing none. Approval of minutes. Item number A, regular meeting minutes for July 9th, 2024 council meeting.
I'll move to approve the meeting minutes for July 9th, 2024. Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the meeting minutes from January 9th, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
I'll move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Support?
It's been moved and supported that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Payment of bills.
Request approval of July 2024 payroll in the amount of $108,730.88 and bills to be paid for July 2024 in the amount of $511,887.29 for a total of $620,618.17.
Motion in order.
I'll move that we pay the bills in the amount of $620,618.17.
Support?
It's been moved and supported that we pay our bills in the amount of $620,618.17. Roll call, please.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
And President Myson?
Yes. Treasurer's report.
We have a total of village assets of $6,961,213.02.
I'll move to receive and file the treasurer's report as presented.
Support?
It's been moved and doubly supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Communications and committee reports. Item number A, clerk will set.
Agenda items for September are due by the end of August, beginning of September.
Thank you. Trustee Dilbert, planning commission report.
Last week's plan commission, we talked about the outside dining ordinance that we're working on. We still haven't finalized it. There's some small things that we're still trying to make right. And council still has to come up with a fee time council has to establish what the fee is gonna be, we have to implement. And we also, entertain Morgan's, their, site plan review, and which was it tabled or was it rejected?
It was tabled because they need to come back.
They need to come back.
They'll have to go for the ZBA for a few
Yeah,
years.
there's like 4 things that they still haven't corrected. That's it.
Okay. Parks and Rec report, trustee Guerrero?
Yeah, so we recapped the Red Hot and Blue Festival, which was a really huge success, but we just talked about some things and we can just make more improvements, for next year. Then we talked about some upcoming events for the fall, like Franken Rose, Detroit Lions Club, Universal Circus, Detroit Wild Lights, the Trunk or Treat, and, look for sponsors in the community, also trying to get more people involved as far as expansions.
Yes, sir.
I had noticed 2 weeks ago, Parks and Rec hosted a DJ.
Yeah, it wasn't well attended.
It wasn't well attended, and I don't think it ever will be well attended. I think those weeks when we don't have the stage available and we can't book a band,
Yeah.
just take a week off.
Yeah, we originally had a band actually scheduled for the week that we didn't have the stage. And we had the DJ scheduled for a different week. We thought the DJ would be a little bit better attended for like younger kids, but in reality,
Let's try it this year.
Yeah.
So, we'll know next year we'll do it.
yeah, the reality is it didn't really catch on as much as we thought it would.
Oh, yeah, and we do have our last musical park this Friday, so Sex Maniacs is the last one of the season.
Yeah, I know we had a little snafu last week as well with the band with, the generator hasn't been working on the stage. So they've been having to use they're using the electrical from the well house. And last week, the circuit kept blowing on the well house. And then they did bring the Shelby Lions did bring a generator for us to use, and they even blew that circuit as well. So I don't know what that from what I understand, their equipment was pretty sophisticated, or a lot of equipment, but
They need 230 amps. They need 230 amps, they said.
yeah, that's,
We're only
That's
pulling
a lot.
like 80 out of the outlet, so.
Wow.
yeah. So, yeah, so, I don't know, might be one of them, they might need to turn the volume down a little bit more or something. But, yeah, so hopefully for the last one, we won't have that issue, we'll have to keep that in mind, or hopefully the generator maybe will be working by the time we get the stage back.
230 amps for cell equipment.
Maybe wattage or something like that.
I don't know, he said 230 amps to me.
Right, yeah, because most circuits are only 15 amps, so 230 to be a,
15 and 20.
yeah.
Regarding the day of the DJ, it poured rain here that day. I had 3 phone calls asking if we were canceling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know,
Alrighty, so that takes us to unfinished business. Item number C, we have resolution trash services for October 1st through September 30th of 2028. So in your packet, you do have a resolution which sets up the fee schedule for how much basically Priority Waste is charging per unit per month. Ms. Kazel, did you want to?
I did, because it doesn't reflect what we were talking about last month.
Sure.
I had spoken with Brian about this. The household waste collection was 1825, as I had predicted on this schedule, but when I went back to look at it, make the resolution, they have a commingled recyclable collection that's an extra $2 the first year and second year, so that's what the resolution reflects. Tracy called me and questioned it today, Mrs. Bronikowski, I'm sorry, wrong read. Her question, I didn't even get the answer. I said, do we really need recyclable collection for the month? Do we need it? Because basically they're all going in the same truck, so what do you guys think? I mean, we could change back the resolution to 1825 and not have a commingled recyclable collection.
Yeah, that was a question I was to say, because nobody's recycling anymore.
Right.
I'm not saying residents, I'm saying garbage the trash companies themselves.
Right.
Doing all that for nothing?
Mine is picked up separately.
Right, but
Pick up separate?
if you follow that container of material, it's gonna go to the same spot that
Oh.
their garbage is.
So it's just for show that they're taking up.
Right.
So our question is, do we go back to 1825? I added 2 bucks for the first year and so on, for what was on the proposal form on the tabs that I had presented to you last time. I didn't realize, because with GFL, it was all one price, and I wasn't paying attention to the second price, so. And my analysis did not include the 2 bucks, but in the same reality though, we will still end up with the same kind of scenario, even if I add the 2 bucks or whatever the extra is too, so. It's up to you guys. Do you want to go back to 1825?
Would the 1825 just throw everything in one truck?
Yeah. Like it's happening
Well,
anyways.
Supposedly they would,
It is, but
supposedly they would still have separate yard waste collection. Reality of what we're actually
That is
seeing, at
included.
least right now, is that they're putting everything in the same truck, at least at the very moment.
well, they're putting them in a separate truck, so it looks like they're doing something. But I remember there was a time when they were putting everything in the trucks and there was an uproar.
And that was GFL.
Whether or not they're putting it in separate trucks might depend on their subdivision, because I have them on camera putting everything into one truck,
Oh, I can do it.
all in one stop.
I think they're different trucks.
I see.
Yeah,
I
I
see
got
three.
three different ones.
Yeah, we've had it happen where they put everything in the same truck. And it just seems like it depends on, the week. And I have a feeling it just depends on how many trucks they have available. If they don't have enough, they'll just,
But just looking at the
And how many
media,
people
the
they
DFL priority changeover transition, it's not going well at all, so I don't think we're gonna see anything that looks anything
right.
standard until they work their Kings Hill.
Yeah, I guess the question that I have, and I don't know if we have an answer for it tonight, but if we were to not go with the commingled recycling, people are still, like, if people still put out a recycling bin because they feel like they're doing the right thing, right, will they pick it up? I mean, I would assume they would
I
still
would say
pick
it's
it up.
garbage. I mean, it doesn't matter what container it is, as long as it's garbage, it's going to be picked up, correct?
Right.
Yeah, because I have waste management containers and they take mine,
Exactly.
so they could, if they were to say, well, that's a different container.
Well, if you replace it for $100, you could replace that can, so why would you do that in the first place? The rest is.
I would like to see us research it, because why are we paying, actually passing it on to our residents, $2?
Right.
That's not really, I know there's a lot of people out there that are diehard recyclers, but if it's not being, if it's not being recycled though, it
Right.
doesn't make sense to pay the $2.
Yeah, if it's all for show and they're just taking it back to the same landfill.
All right, well, let's table this, and I'll ask the question, and we still have till, we get back to September. Yeah, we have 1 more month to deal with this anyway, so we can have a conversation on it.
I believe Sandy has it. Yeah, you've been in contact with.
I haven't in a while. He was trying to ask me, the question came up when I talked to you, and he goes, well, does that include the $2? I'm like, what are you talking about? So, I will go back to him, because I asked him for a contract. They were gonna make us a contract. I asked him for a contract, they had it on. But they were waiting for us to make a resolution for what we were gonna pay. So I will have that, conversation with them, get back with you guys, and let you know. And then I'll bring the resolution back again in September. And then we can go from there. We have 1 more month to get this, straightened out. Okay? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number B new business, item number A. So we'll talk about the catch basin repairs. Do you want to cover it, Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay. Hoping the Rockets beat the winning team. Do you need a copy of the quote? I printed them out. Okay.
I remember it was very much. So what he is proposing is, we have partial failures, we got 3 partial failures at Lincoln and Luke's, and we have 1 partial failure at Morgan and Luke's, for a total of $8,560. He's asking for repair, and that would be over in that general area over here, across the street, over there by the Lions Hall. He also was asking for, we have complete failures on Bennett and Lutz, Willard and Lutz, Lincoln and Lutz, and Elk and Haven Ridge. And that's a total of $20,580. So he's asking to be approved for $29,140 to keep on doing his catch basin program if he's fixed.
And this is going with D&J, who is the contractor we've been using for all of our.
Right, she's our approved vendor contract that we've been using.
This we pay for our local.
Yes, all of them are locals, so they will be. I don't know, maybe Elk and Haven Ridge might be going to major. I don't know exactly if it's on Elk or if it's on Haven Ridge. If it's on Haven Ridge, it'll be major. So that's gonna be 5,000 to major.
I think it's right on the corner of the property.
So I don't know if I never caught this before on all the other catch basin proposals, so it said permits, bonds, and drawings are not included. Do we ever actually require that?
Yeah, but we never get charged for it, so. I will ask for it.
And I know that, we only have one quote here. Granted, this is our approved vendor that we've been using for all our catch basin repair work, but just thought it's worth noting. In Decorah Park, we recently had a catch basin that had to be repaired, and for a partial failure, the mortar was falling out, and that one was $2,900. I thought it was a good price, and I sent it to Marcus and was like, hey, look at this really good price we got for catch basin repair. And then he sent me this, and I was like, oh, dang, we overpaid.
Yeah, usually our purchases are like $2,140. They pay $2,900, the scope of work was on.
Yeah, so D&J's prices are pretty good, actually. Your storm basins in your backyard. Yeah.
So we're asking for approval.
Any questions for Ms. Gazel?
I'll move to repair the catch basins in the amount of, for D&J contracting, the amount of $29,140.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we repair a number of catch basins totaling $29,140 with D&J. Roll call, please.
Trustee Burkholder?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Dona?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. And President Beckman?
Yes. Thank you. All right, new business, item number B, Community Park Playground Upgrade Proposal. So this one, in your packet, you have the proposal which was sent to us by Snyder Recreation on behalf of Burke. They have a proposal that they put together with some really nice drawings of what they are proposing. Essentially taking, there's a sidewalk loop that currently exists from, where the current playground is and then where we were originally proposing to put the splash pad. The drawing actually shows 2 trees, which I believe actually have been removed since then, but I did talk to Vicki at Snyder. She said if we wanted to plant new trees in the area, that's, pretty doable with the turf system that they're planning on using. So all the green that you see in that playground area is AstroTurf. And then over in the swing set area and zip line area, they're proposing the engineered wood chips with mats under the playground, or under the swing set. So we do have already the $90,000 down payment that we did with Snyder Recreation for the splash pad. They've agreed to put this towards that project. So the full amount would be the $344,620. We already have the $90,000 down payment. I've also reached out to the Michigan Funding Hub, which is ran by the NML, asking for grant opportunities that we could apply for Parks and Rec grants to lower our portion of the bill even more. But what I'm requesting today would be approval to move forward with the 344, 620. And then, hopefully between now and then, we can apply for some grants and lower that amount even more.
For those grants were retroactive, so we pay for it now and then.
So they have in here about it needing a half down payment. My understanding, I need to confirm with Vicki, I think she said that the $90,000 we already did as a down payment, that they would just accept that. So tonight, if we approve this, we at least have approved and on record that we are doing this, and we have the plan, we have the drawings, everything. That's all then the package that we can use in the grant funding applications.
What's their, estimated start date?
So it really depends on what we decide. That definitely wouldn't be this year. So at this point, it would be sometime next year, which also works out in our favor. It would give us more time to apply for some grants. The MI Funding Hub, if you're not familiar, it's actually a pretty cool system that MML just came out with. They actually have a third-party service that answers a help desk email address. You email their help desk, you give them basically a synopsis of the project that you're planning on doing. They have you fill out a community profile, and then they schedule 3 meetings to talk about the project, and they'll come back and they'll tell you, here's all the grant opportunities that are available for that project. So I reached out to them about this. I also reached out to them about the community center, and I also reached out to them just even about just local road funding as well. So it's kind of nice. It's a third-party service that's completely free, and they do all the legwork of finding the grants for you based off of your community profile. So I'm pretty hopeful that we'll have some good opportunities with that.
I just have a couple questions.
Sure.
How about, are they gonna remove the existing equipment, or?
This, yeah, if I remember correctly, in here, they had in here that it was, it's materials and labor. So this is a turnkey project.
But if they don't remove it, is that something the DPW can do?
If the removal isn't part of it, yeah, that would be something that we can have the DPW do. It should be pretty easy with some
And then
controls.
what about the maintenance of the surfaces? Is that something that DPW will be taking care of?
Yeah, each of their playground equipment kits actually comes with a maintenance kit.
I'm talking the surfaces, the turf.
Oh, the turf and all that, yeah. So one of the nice things that they were proposing with their AstroTurf, it's actually really easy that if you need to cut out a section and put new turf in, it's really easy to do. It's like carpet, you can tear a piece out and put a new piece in. Compared to if you were to do like the rubberized material that you have to pour, and it's a little bit harder to deal with if it's like vandalized or you have a section that needs replacing. So they were saying the AstroTurf is really easy to maintain. They actually put like a foam core block down. We got to see it at the Parks and Rec Commission meeting. It's like a thick foam material, like a styrofoam material. They put that down, and then they have the AstroTurf that they put down, and then they do like I think it said it was like a flat silica sand of some sort that then helps weight it all down and everything. So
Just over time, that'll need a little tweaking. So-
possibly, yeah. The thing that I was really impressed about is that they really stressed that for the playground equipment, all of the equipment is going to be UV stable. You're not going to see the leaching out like you see with some of the older playground equipment. And the maintenance kit that they give you as part of this, it'll come with the paint you need if you ever have to do any touch-up paint of any sort. It's all powder coated and everything like that, so it'll be pretty strong,
And then,
resistant.
one final question is, some of this perimeter earth is gonna get touched.
Yes.
So are they gonna put that earth back and seed and mulch it, or what?
Yeah,
Or is
they
DPW
had,
gonna do that?
for seeding and mulching, I'm not sure, but they did have in here that excavated spoils will be spread on site. So, any, you know, earth that they dig up and whatnot for the making of the playground, they can spread it out on site.
And then we can just see the mulch that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You know, I'm pretty excited about the concept drawings that they put together. I mean, it's a really nice big open area, but additionally, not having those black, like landscape ties, or like railroad ties, or whatever you want to call them, you know, that like the perimeter of the playground. This is going to be so accessible. I mean, kids in wheelchairs would be able to very easily go from the sidewalk to the playground set. For those of you that weren't at the Parks and Rec Committee meeting, if you're looking at their drawing that they did, the visualization, there is a teal-looking slide that's then connected to like a purple ladder-looking thing, and it's kind of U-shaped. It's kind of hard to see, but it'd be on the left side of the playground equipment. That is actually designed for kids in wheelchairs, where they can actually roll up to that like platform at the bottom with their wheelchair. They can use those handrails to actually pull themselves up out of the wheelchair and pull them up that ramp, and then they can actually get around and then go back down the slide. So it actually gives them the ability to still use the playground just the same as other kids. So really increases the accessibility of the playground. And then they have a bunch of other toys for different they've got sensory toys with like musical fixtures. They've got the smaller playground fixture that's for younger kids. They've got the Adirondack chair that they said we could even do like the village logo on the back of it, so it'd be this big thing, big chair that the kids would be able to sit in, take pictures and whatnot. There's on the left-hand side of the big playground area, you see like that circle with like a seat in it. That's one of those like old, spinning fixtures, what they call it, the Bonnet Comet. Yeah. So there's just a lot of different things going on here. There'd be, you'd still have the swing set with some ADA or accessible swing sets, and then also a zip line. I don't know about y'all, but my kids love going to Lennox Township Park because of the zip line. So that was something that I thought would be cool to have at our own park as well. Seems to be a really big hit with the kids.
What about benches, Brian? Do they get benches?
They did, yeah, they did have some benches in here as well.
Oh, on there, okay.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
And it's
And
listed.
that's what I was gonna ask, because the last, for the splash pad, it was here's the pad, and then there was benches, there's add-ons there.
Right.
I was gonna ask, this is a comprehensive,
Yeah,
we do this, and we're not gonna come next year and say, hey, well, we need this, and this too to go.
right. Unless we decide to go above and beyond, but this actually lists, in the quote, it says, the playground, they list multiple playground numbers: freestanding, four-seat swing, arrow spinner, welcome signs, benches, zip venture, Big Berg chair, that's the big Adirondack chair, board rocker, which is another like Bonnet Comet spinning fixture, and the musical fixtures. So this is meant to be a turnkey. This is not meant to be oh wait, we got to add this, we have to add that. If we decide to add more benches in the future, as just to add even more seating or whatnot around the playground, we could look into that. Maybe we can even do like other municipalities, they've done like in memorial benches. Yeah. But this is all already includes it. So, at least in my opinion, this is a really good proposal that they put together for us. Personally, I'm pretty excited for it. Hopefully, everybody else is too. Any further questions or comments? We have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the community park fair
actually try to start scheduling it now. In anticipation that it will be sometime next year. But it'd be nice if we could like get a jump on it, you know, early spring or something, so.
Yeah, early spring, so it's ready for.
Yeah. It's been moved and supported that we go with the Snyder Recreation quote for the community park upgrades in the amount of $344,620. Roll call, please.
Trustee Greer?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, okay, the motion is for 344, but we've already approved 90 of it?
Yeah, we've already approved 90 as a down payment.
Okay.
So is this 334 including that?
Yeah, I don't know how you want to make that motion. It's $344,620, including the $90,000 that we already have as a down payment.
So, somebody just to reflect that the total cost is going to be 340, and that we already.
Credit cost.
We've already put the cost. Total cost of $344,620. Any other further comment on the motion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Dombrowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Noah?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
President Weiss?
Yes. All right, thank you, everybody. Next item we have is item number C, which is full-time fire inspector, code enforcement officer. This one was intentionally left a little bit vague as far as having a job description or number of hours and how much we would actually pay. This is more of a conceptual request to see if we want to move forward with. Right now, we use Fire Savvy for our commercial fire inspections, and Fire Savvy also does our site plan reviews. Trustee Dilbert, as you know from the Planning Commission and Treasurer Nolan Dilbert, you know as well. And Clerk, what's that? We have all the members that are on the Planning Commission that are here. We've had some issues with Fire Savvy where they've been a little delinquent on being able to get us some of the site plans. They're overworked. We're overwhelmed with the amount of work that we're sending them. We've used Fire Savvy for many years, but previously we'd only have like 1 or 2 site plan reviews, you know, not that many site plan reviews. Now we're actually getting a lot, you know, with the nursing home, with Redwood, with, you know, the businesses that are doing development and rehab or wanting to redo their businesses and all that. It's just adding up for them in addition to the commercial fire inspections. Additionally, we do have the code enforcement officer. We have him as a stipend of $750 a month. You know, as far as how many hours a month we're getting out of that $750, I'm not really sure how many hours we're really getting. I know that our current code enforcement officer does work midnights, so during the day he is, you know, unless he's really planning ahead, he's, you know, usually having to catch up on sleep during the day. It's before or after work that he's being able to do his patrols. So the idea was, you know, we have a need for having somebody in-house for fire inspections, and if we get him certified in doing the site plan reviews, it would just be an additional certification. That would then, we could cover both aspects of that instead of having to use the third-party service with Fire Savvy. And then we could also have the code enforcement officer duties as additional work for this person to help, you know, make it worthy of a full-time job. So, you know, for tonight's purposes, I just wanted to float this idea with everybody. Do we think this is a direction that we want to go? If so, we can put together, you know, I can work with Chief Steer, I can work with our building department and Ms. Hazel. You know, we could put together an actual job description and get some comparables as far as what the hourly rate would be or a salary rate would be, you know, and so on. It's just, you know, is this a direction that we as a village think that we're ready to take? You know, it is an additional full-time head that's being requested. But, you know, frankly, you know, I guess I'll just say, you know, we have a lot of instances in the village where we have businesses that are doing whatever they want because they feel like they don't really have any repercussions to doing it. getting their certificate of occupancy. We have a business that's operating without an address in the backyard of another business. So all of these things that if we had a more available code enforcement officer, and we had them full-time for making sure that we're following through on keeping up to date on the code enforcement, we're actually keeping up to date on, the writing of fines and all that. Just think that would be more beneficial to the village. Thoughts? That was my long-winded explanation.
I guess my initial concern would be, adding an additional head is a significant, cost to the village, so I would like to see something, tangible in writing that would justify that, if it's just that planning commission, lost a month, on whatever it is, because fire safety to keep up, or, code enforcement being more lenient than we like on certain things, wouldn't necessarily equate to another head on the village. But if it's something that's significant, we can justify that cost, then I would lean more towards the favor. But I would have to see something that says, we're gonna spend another $100,000 a year on another head. What are we getting for that?
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I have no idea what we pay fire saving now.
I would want to know that.
And what's comparable, and it's full-time.
We've been averaging $2,000 a month with them.
Per site plan.
Yeah, there's an additional cost per site plan review. That one
10 a
is,
year,
sorry,
10 a year.
10 a year is how much we pay. That's for the
retainer, or?
So site plans are paid by the businesses. So the business comes in, they go direct to fire savvy, and that's how they do their site plan reviews. The village is hands off at that point, the money exchange between those two. We pay $10,000 a year for them to come in and do, they are assisting us in getting our fire inspection division up and running. So that's right now currently it's $10,000. That's for the entire year. Comes out, we do multiple inspections a day, and it's helping us build our program.
So fire saving costs us $10,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
And the code enforcement cost was $750, so $9,500.
So they're,
So right now we're at a ballpark $20,000
Right.
cost, and then, so there is an inconvenience with that, so it is ahead. The additional cost of an extra body, is that worth the inconvenience kind of thing? Is what we would have to be able to justify it before we.
And does that extra body also require a benefit, so, or the other things that come into play?
yeah, that was the other option too, is, if we're not comfortable with justifying, full-time head, do we then maybe consider, is it somebody that we bring in as like a part-time dual role? Right now, we do have an individual who is part-time with the fire department that is certified for fire inspection. We would have to talk with that individual to see if he'd be willing to take on more hours to do the additional duty of code enforcement. And we would have to define how many hours that really is. One of the benefits of having it be full-time is that it would be, if the person is primarily fire department, that would somewhat alleviate, some of the staffing concerns that they could have during the day, or in the evenings. But I totally understand, it comes with a cost, especially with benefits. So that's why I didn't want to go too far into this. I wanted to kind of talk this out with you guys, see what do you think, where are your guys' direction with this?
Yeah, not opposed to the idea, just we would have to consider it. We'd have to see all the variables work and be able to justify the cost before we undertake it. Because it's not something that, to me, we always say that, if we hire someone that's an Apple thing, it's not that simple. We're not going to go to school, okay, we're done with this idea, you're fired. We don't typically do that in practice. So if we're gonna commit to it, we really have to kind of commit to it.
Yeah, one of the other things, worth mentioning too is we recently, because we were having, so code enforcement was issuing violations over the years, and we weren't really good about following through with actually collecting on those violations. So we wrote off or basically forgave, well, how many thousands of dollars?
It's like 18,000, but the problem was is when our current code enforcement came on, there was still stuff that was backdated that nobody was following up or collecting. And nobody knew that it was sitting on the books over on the building department. Nobody was reviewing it, nobody was following up on that. So in turn, we decided to clean the slate, move forward, and have the new code enforcement begin his stuff. We also too have in place right now is we have a new building inspector. He has been very hopeful the past couple of weeks. Unfortunately, Mr. Cohen had a medical issue and he had retired from us. And so we have another person come in, but he is trying to get us set up for success. And he's been giving direction with Mr. Addis and Mr. Gralzik. He's been guiding in the past couple of weeks, and we've been getting some stuff done. We have, most of our problems right now are commercial businesses, as we said, are going and conducting business, and they're not allowed to, and they don't have COOs. So we are in the process of making sure that they're cited, making sure that we give them warning cited, and if we have to do a cease and desist or whatever, we would go into Mr. Addis. So we have a plan in place right now so that we can take care of the problems and challenges that we have right now. We have, in the past 2 weeks, actually moved them forward a lot. Now, our goal with Chief here and Mr. Dilbert here is that we make sure that we do all these inspections every year. We have 70 commercial businesses here that we expect to inspect every year and make sure that they are in compliance. So moving forward with the new stuff that's coming in, we want to put something in place to make sure that we are making sure that these businesses are in compliance in the village. So the 70 inspections a year, so I mean that's a lot for one part-time person for fire inspection. Mr. Dilbert's going to be doing cross connection, so that's another 70 inspections, and then we're going to have our problem checks, and that's where the code enforcement comes in. So that's what we're trying to do, and trying to be proactive about getting things in place, protocol, procedures, so that we can make sure that this village is publicly safe for everybody to live here. So that is our goal. So this is one of our ideas that we've been trying to figure out how we're going to do it. And right now, of course, it's cost, but at the same time, the problem that we have that big assisted living coming in, Redwood, and whatever one you just said too. We have growth coming. We're going to be topping out on the residential portion, but our commercial is looking like it's going to be growing. So that's where we stand right now. So we're trying to put things in place to make sure that we move forward, not be reactive but proactive.
Yeah, and admittedly, I mean, it's no fault of Mark's by any means, so don't take this the wrong way. We hired him knowing that he was midnight shift. But one of the issues that we do kind of run into is that, you know, because he's catching up on sleep during the day while we're, you know, stewing about, oh crap, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, we need to do this. We're getting with Al, we're getting with our building official. And it's, you know, then we, you know, fire off the messages to Mark saying, you know, hey, we need you to do X, Y, Z, bless you. There is a little bit of a delay or a lag there because, you know, stuff can't get done during the day as easily just because of Mark's schedule. Whereas if we had somebody that was during the day part-time, you know, it'd just be a little bit easier.
Well, the shift wouldn't matter because if we hire someone who was on day shift, they couldn't do anything during the day either, they're at work.
Well, we'd be hiring somebody that would be,
No, I mean, it's shift. It wouldn't matter what shift we have a part-time person on because they're either sleeping or at work
well,
during the day. Right?
they'd be at work here.
Part-time,
No, if we hired a part-time person.
work here during the day.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, you said Mark, because of his shift, can't do things during the day, but if we hire someone on any other shift, there's a part of the day that they won't be able to.
Yeah, right, but we're not here in the office in the evenings, trying to get stuff done. That's all. Did you agree?
Yeah. Mark has not been getting directives. Mark has not been given any direction. He was not a code enforcement before he came. He's been doing what he can building inspector, he has somebody that he can go to and they can talk it out, they can get things done. So I see there's gonna be a huge improvement here in the next couple months with having Mark as our code enforcement, if we do not consider having this full-time person or not. I think that with the direction from our new building inspector, that we will be getting a lot more stuff done and a lot more stuff. And following protocol, and Mr. Addis has been helping us with protocol and procedure and how we deal with all these people too, so make sure that we get them to either court or warn them or collect funds from them, the people that are not doing what they're supposed to do in the village.
So is the main inconvenience that we're having right now, and the reason why this came up is mostly because of fire savvy, and then code enforcement was kind of,
It was a mixed bag. It was a little bit about both, right?
Okay.
So it's, we've had some challenges with fire savvy, being a little overwhelmed, delaying our ability to process through some of our site plan reviews. But it was also the thought of, so to Chief Steer's point, fire savvy, we're paying that annual fee to get our fire inspection program up and running. The intention all along is to eventually have somebody that is a certified fire inspector on our team, that we're doing it all in-house. So at some point, there is going to be a request for somebody, unless it's somebody that's already part-time or already full-time that gets certified, at some point, there's going to be a request for a head of some sort, whether it's part-time or full-time, I don't know. But sometime in the future, we're going to be looking at wanting to bring that in-house, so that's something we can do. And then additionally, getting them certified for the site plan reviews, that takes away the onus for fire savvy, just having it in-house instead of having it be third-party contracted out. And the idea was that since we are having the issues with code enforcement, and just staying on top of it, if we had a code enforcement officer that's working during the day on a day shift, it's easier for them to go out to the business and interact with the business owners than if we have somebody that's patrolling after hours when the businesses are shut down.
yeah, and I have that, when I look at expectation, we hired a part-time code enforcement, I expect part-time.
Right.
I don't expect that a full-time, but if we hired a company to do X, Y, Z, and they say we're gonna do X, Y, Z, and then they're the ones getting behind, I kind of think that the problem more lies with the company that isn't living up to the promises, as opposed to a part-time guy doing part-time work.
Right, and that's why I say, this is at no fault of Mark.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see where, kind of like getting to the puzzle where this is coming from. And
Yeah, it was
it
just
seems
kind
like
of,
to me like the frustration lies more with the company that's not living up to the promises and giving us the services we're paying for.
yeah, it's just one of those things that we realize there's these challenges that we have all over the place. And, one of the themes that we always are talking about, especially in our department head meetings, is the overall theme is follow through. There's a lot of things that comes through the village. It's on the radar for a period of time, and it falls off the radar. It's whatever the new hot button is, that's what we're focusing in on. And then you circle back around. Again, I'm not faulting Mark, but last month when we had Mr. Jowett here? Kind of a good example. This is an issue that, frankly, I think most of us have known about for years, but then to hear that we've never actually followed through and written a violation for the exterior of the building. Mark's been doing an excellent job of staying on top of it since then, and really, so again, I'm not faulting him, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. But, just having a bulldog that's really going to be on top of code enforcement, if they're here, day in and day out, working a full-time schedule, the thought was we're going to have somebody who is going to be more accountable to, making sure that we're getting all this stuff worked through, we're getting the violation notices sent out, working with the building inspector during business hours to be able to do, what is it that I need to do, X, Y, Z, or working with Mr. Addis during business hours, X, Y, Z, for getting all of these violations in order. Yes, sir.
Chief, how close are we to bringing a fire inspection back in-house?
Fire inspections are currently in-house. The fire safety is helping us build it, but we currently state of Michigan certified fire inspector. We do not have a state of Michigan certified plan review, which is what we sent those plans, the site plans out for right now. But yes, we are currently doing inspections as we.
So we're paying Fire Savvy a $10,000 retainer, and in return, the applicant still pay their fee to Fire Savvy for the site plan review.
Yes, sir.
But the actual fire inspections are currently being done in-house.
In-house under the direction and help with the fire savvy guys.
Okay, so they're still lending
Yes, sir.
some expertise to
Yes,
it.
sir. Absolutely. You know, that's how we're able to identify, there's 5 businesses currently operating on us.
How soon do you think we'll be able to sever ties with Fire Savvy?
My plan was to.
A year?
A year. That year will be up in November.
And right now-
Pace for that?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that still a attainable goal? Is it be independent?
Yes, there's still a couple, larger issues that we'll be knocking out here in the next 2 months, absolutely. Yes, I would say that goal should be able to attain by the end of this year.
And are you comfortable with, at some point in time, are you comfortable being able to say, okay, we're done with Fire Savvy?
For the inspections, yes.
For the inspections.
For site plans, no. But for inspections, I would be comfortable, like I said, I've got a handful of businesses that I will be taking care of here within the next few months that are a little bit more complicated than.
The reason I ask these questions is because we're transitioning to become independent,
Right.
okay? And do we want to overwhelm this individual possibly by saying, you're not only the fire inspector now, but you're also the code enforcement? So I think we may want to just slow this down and let's become comfortable with our inspection, with our fire inspection portion of it.
Sure.
And then maybe at some point in the future, a year or two down the road, then we can possibly bring the code enforcement to that side.
You said Fire Savvy we use for our site plan review. Do we have any plans to bring that in-house as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what would be the timeframe we think that could be done?
Again, that's all going to be really dependent on the state and when they offer those type of classes, but I would assume within a year.
Yeah,
It would be dependent on the state of Michigan when they offer those, because they don't just pop up.
And is this the only company available to do the site plans? Or are there?
It is the only company that this region uses, yes.
Okay.
I think we still should pursue having a job description or job requirement for the code enforcement and the fire inspector also. There's nothing in place for us, for him to go by, or who is he supposed to be, who does he report to and all that stuff. That has not been going down since he's been the code enforcement. And we need to do the job requirements and who he reports to. We should have that done already, so that, he's been spinning wheels for a while now, trying to get stuff done and not having direction.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that we can definitely put that together. And I agree with you, Trustee Dilbert, about, maybe we hold off on the code enforcement part of it, especially when we originally started bringing this together. There's been a lot of moving parts that have been happening just the past few weeks. As Ms. Hazel mentioned, I was going to bring it up at the table. We do have a new building official. Mr. Cohen, has had some medical issues that have been coming around. We originally were planning on using a building official as backup from Washington Township, who actually unfortunately passed away on us, which was an utter shock and really sad. We were able to find a different building official who was available to fill our needs and is familiar with Mr. Cohen and has a very good reputation with Washington Township, the Village of Romeo, Ira Township, and he's been the first conversation we had with him when I first met him, he was schooling me within 5 seconds of building code, and the guy's very, very smart. So, you know, this has been all of development in just the past couple of weeks here. So, you know, hopefully maybe with Mr. Bomarito's, you know, expertise and guidance, he's more familiar with how does the building code help code enforcement for getting everything resolved. So I think that's a fair, you know, we can maybe hold off on that. We can just focus in on getting our fire inspector up to snuff, and then we can revisit this later at a different point in time. Everybody comfortable with that? Okay. Moving on. Item number D, pool vehicle purchase request. So, somewhat of a similar topic, or kind of related to our code enforcement officer. If you read our synopsis, we actually had some incidents where our code enforcement officer was actually followed back to his home because he was driving his personal vehicle, and they recognized it and followed him all the way back to his home. And it's a little unnerving to be followed, you know, back to your home after you're doing a code enforcement violation. You know, additionally, we do have mileage reimbursement requests that we do for the office staff when they're going to the post office, running down to Staples, or to other businesses when they have other errands to run. We have our DPW superintendent is doing inspections in construction zones using his personal vehicle and having to have his tires replaced multiple times on his own dime because he's had nails and whatnot in the tires. If we had a pool vehicle that everybody could share, this would alleviate a lot of those concerns. For all intents and purposes, since it is just a pool vehicle for driving around the village, you know, if Marcus is doing an inspection, or if code enforcement is driving around, we don't really need anything that extravagant for them to drive around in. We don't, I mean, an F-150 would be nice, but the cheapest vehicle that was on the list was a Chevy Trax at $19,116. So it's a cheap vehicle for them to drive around, and you know, they can all share as a pool vehicle. Obviously, there would be insurance and whatnot, you know, as an additional expense, but looking for authorization to purchase a 2024 Chevy Trax for the amount of $19,116 plus the delivery fees, and that would be shared amongst the staff, code enforcement. You know, Marcus would be able to use it for his inspections instead of using his personal truck. You know, any type of situation where we're incurring mileage reimbursement, the pool vehicle will be something that will be able to be used.
Isn't there DPW vehicles that Marcus could use?
We have two pickup trucks.
Yeah, do pick up the dump, they're all being used.
Yeah.
I'll be fine, I'm good, I don't need a pool vehicle.
Well, so Mark, you know, it's just,
I'll just bring the receipt for my tires, it's actually no big deal. I'll be okay.
so, you know, we have, but definitely most importantly is I don't think that we should have our code enforcement officer driving his personal vehicle around while he's doing code enforcement activities. You know, we even had it where we had a business that was operating without permit over on, that was, we needed to do some enforcement activities. You know, obviously, we don't feel comfortable driving our own personal vehicles, pulling up to a business and saying, hey, we're issuing you a cease and desist.
I would assume you would call the sheriff to accompany you on that.
Yes, I mean, you'd still have the sheriff assist, but you're still showing up in your own personal vehicle. Whereas, you know, admittedly, when I had the incident where I had to do a cease and desist, I actually reached out to fire chief and asked if he would take me over there in the Tango, just so that it was a, you know, village official vehicle and not somebody's personal vehicle that's rolling up to do a cease and desist. So, thoughts? Yes, sir.
I have a lot of thoughts.
That's why you're here.
I'm not a fan of pool vehicles. just described, where this vehicle would have to be cut into thirds in order to accommodate everybody. You know, you've got the DPW supervisor, you got the code enforcement guy, you got the office staff who has to make an occasional run. I just don't see where somebody's always gonna come up short. Somebody's always gonna come up short. And now we got another vehicle out there that we gotta pay insurance on. We gotta swipe our card over at the gas tank, we gotta fill up. I mean, I'm a strong supporter of mileage. You turn in the mileage, we can track it, we can document it. We know that you did this on this day with a pool vehicle. I think it's just gonna be a potential vehicle for abuse.
From an insurance point of view, it's a nightmare. You got driving records for each individual. And, you know, say somebody does something they shouldn't, and that's gonna fall right back on the village, get your insurance canceled. Not only in that vehicle, but your DPW, your fire department.
Yeah, but the liability of somebody using their personal vehicle on official village business, getting into an accident, I think is a big liability to the village as well, right? If they're using their personal vehicle and something happens while they're not official.
Question, is there liability? Well, there's liability when you drive any vehicle because of the financial responsibility laws. I may be prejudiced. My first job in government was driving the Clinton Township pool vehicle all around Clinton Township years ago, putting in new street signs. And I have a fond memory of that old Ford Bronco. But insurance-wise, you're correct. It's very difficult now because insurance has risen in this inflationary economy more than any other product, more than food, more than gas, more than oil. So insurance-wise, it's difficult. Plus, they will ask for that underwriting. Who's going to drive it? How many hours? How many miles? When and where? So there are problems with pool vehicles. We have to weigh that. Again, it's not a legal question. I'm giving you I used to own an insurance company, so I can tell you. On the other hand, you have people out in their own personal vehicles. Two ways to look at that. Okay? You're never absolutely sure that their insurance is up to date when they're using their personal vehicle. I mean, Marcus may decide he's done paying insurance and driving around uninsured, just as an example, all right? And now you're out there bare. On the other hand, if he has insurance and we have a umbrella policy, now we're double insured. If you're looking for a direct legal answer, there isn't one. If you're looking for a practical answer, it's tough to split vehicles. On a certain day, he has to be there, she has to be here, we have one vehicle. These are considerations. Legally, I cannot guarantee, nor can you guarantee, or anybody, that your person, including the person that's doing inspections, does he have his vehicle insured? He can tell you he does, but you don't know. All right? So liability breaks both ways. And I know that's not a specific answer, but it does break both ways. If you're going to use personal vehicles, I think every employee has to provide proof of insurance every 6 months to the township. I don't know if they do that now. But if you're using your personal vehicle and you have to set a limit, what is the minimal limit upon which you can do township business? Now, I just saw how much money the township has in the bank. That's how much money you can lose in a lawsuit. So you're going to ask people to have personal limits of at least 100, 300, or 200, 500. You know, there are people, and I always use this example, and I mean no disrespect. I have children and grandchildren. there's always somebody out there that's gonna knock a school bus in a lake. And so you need large amounts of coverage. Then you have coverage above, so it's a very difficult problem with both personal vehicles and the assigned vehicle. And I know I've been no help at all now. All right, I mean, I have to. But one thing that has come of this, and I mean it, if you're gonna drive your personal vehicle, this township needs to, village, this township needs to do this. You have to have proof of insurance every 6 months. And set a limit as to how much, a minimum amount, if you're going to do township business. I keep on saying, I represent 2 townships and 1 village, all right? All right, if you're gonna do that business, you have to be well insured. Both have their problems. And you're gonna have to decide which way to go, and that's a political and not a legal decision. So I can point out the problems, I don't have the solution.
Yeah, I mean, at least for the code enforcement aspect of it, you know, especially in lieu of the previous item, you know, if our code enforcement officer is going around early mornings and evenings, that wouldn't conflict with the office staff, but, you know, he would have to have somehow would have to have access to the vehicle in the off hours, if he's patrolling in the off hours. That would be something we have to do considerations with.
And my thoughts on this are similar to the last item. I'm not opposed to having, like if I was king of New Haven, and all village business would be done in village vehicles kind of thing, but I would have to look at what are we going to get for the cost of this versus what we're doing now kind of thing, and be able to justify that additional cost. I mean, what we're paying in mileage, tire receipts versus $20,000 plus fees, plus maintenance, plus, you know, insurance, plus liability. What more are we getting by having this? And then bring up the logistical problems of it, who's driving what, when, where, you know, I mean, it just, if we spent it, we would have to be able to justify it versus what we're doing now.
The biggest issue and why it was really brought forward wasn't even a tangible, you know, cost, is the whole situation where Mr. Geralchik was followed up. You know, that from a security standpoint, you know, personal security standpoint, that was the big, or personal safety standpoint, that was the biggest concern of why we were talking about, you know, a pool vehicle is just, you know, he's going around and citing businesses or citing residents, giving them violations, and he's driving home.
Where the police call it?
In those instances, I think I don't remember if he said he did or not. I'm not sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're a small community, so I think everyone in here knows where everyone is.
True.
I've had conversations with people where I thought, yeah, I know where you live. Yeah.
Well, us as elected officials, it's also on the record as soon as we run too,
Exactly,
so.
look up online where everybody is.
Yeah. But, yeah.
An incident in the office here, someone found me out in the parking lot, and we, something that is being. So, we needed.
All right, so it sounds like we're in favor of just tabling that one? No motion on that? Okay. All right, that brings us to call from the floor.
For those who were at the festival, it was a big success. It raised a lot of money for cancer, and thank you for all you guys who went in that dirty water. Okay? So, that's all I want to say is thank you. Especially you were there.
Still got dirty water on it.
The dunk tank that they had, the fire department used the hydrant and flush it before they. Keep your mouth shut when you put it in.
So we let it run for about 5 minutes.
Call from the floor.
Good evening. My name is Dan Seilinger. I live on Stevens Street. I'm here to inquire about getting our curbs replaced because they're in a terrible state of repair. And in addition to Stevens Street, Clausen and Chenault Hall are also pretty bad. Lots of pictures and stuff like that if you're interested in looking at it.
Well, yeah, so for call from the floor, typically it's not a Q&A type session, but I can definitely talk to you after.
Afterwards,
Yeah.
on brand.
Okay. Okay, yeah, absolutely. We can talk to you right after the meeting. Call from the floor.
Last month I was here, possibly showing PO boxes,
Yes.
and I'd like to know what has been done.
Yeah, so again, unfortunately, call from the floor isn't really meant to be a Q&A, but I definitely do have an answer for you. I'd like to talk to you after the meeting.
Sure. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Or I can address that one at call from the table. Call from the floor. Is that a fake call? All right, call from the table if anybody else wanted to say anything before I have some items. Okay, so last month we had an individual come to us to request about mailboxes. I did speak to the postmaster for the Village of New Haven Post Office. Apparently, because of our post office being a rural route, there is some sort of, I don't want to say it's a law, but it might be like a bylaw or a union agreement or something that they use, where rural routes, they do not have to deliver mail within a 1/4 mile radius around the post office. So the mailboxes that are on Main Street, which cover Delaney, Hout, Pasco, those are all, but that cluster of mailboxes that are over there by Elk Street, I think it was, or Orchard, I can't remember which, that cluster is like right on the edge of that 1/4 mile radius from the post office. So I asked if there was any way that we could do an exception, if there's any way we could get something done so that you guys can have your mailboxes right there along, in front of your house. Unfortunately, they're saying that no, this is a national U.S. post office policy that if it's a rural route, that they don't have to deliver within a 1/4 mile radius of the post office. They said that they could give you a P.O. box in lieu of having the mailbox out at the road. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that it's something that they would actually give you for free. The postmaster mentioned that, I think it might have been for Armada, that they have like a whole section that's dedicated to everybody that's within that 1/4 mile radius of post boxes that they have at that post office. So unfortunately, they were saying that there really wasn't too much that they could do, that the mailboxes that you have over there are right outside that radius, so that's what allows them to deliver the mail to there. I was surprised to hear that also applies to Victoria Street. So, so Victoria also doesn't have mail delivery. Any of them within a 1/4 mile radius of the post office. So unfortunately, that's the response that we got. The other item from call from the table, like was mentioned, so we do have a new building inspector, new building official, Mr. Mike Bomarito. Like I said, really, really brilliant guy, really good guy. I'd like to have him see if he can maybe come in and introduce himself to council. One of the things that I always thought was weird with the building department is that it's like who our inspectors are and everything's always kind of a mystery. They don't really have a lot of visibility to council, so I'd like to bring him in 1 month. And then he also is going to have an updated fee schedule for how much to charge residents for site plan reviews and all that fun stuff. So we'll bring that forward next month for all that. Seems like a really good guy, a lot of experience. I told him to R&D with Washington Township. R&D being replicate and duplicate. So go over there, steal all their stuff, and bring it over to us to use. So why recreate the wheel if we can just get what's working in other communities? So yeah, a lot of experience, really knows the building code inside and out. He was quoting stuff, making my head swirl within minutes. So I'm excited to have him on board. I think he's gonna give some, fresh energy into the building department. With that, any other call from the table? All right, motion's in order. Moved and supported that we adjourn at 8:19. Roll call. Or all in favor?
I can't.
All opposed? Motion carries.